Ο Βινίσιους, πάλι ο Βαρέλα, κόβει. Αρχοντική εμφάνιση από τον Βαρέλα. Ο Γιαννούλης με πάρα πολλές δυνάμεις διασχίζει το γήπεδο. Και η πάσα του είναι για τον Ζίβκοβιτς. Για να δούμε τον Σέρβο, πατά περιοχή. Ο Ζίβκοβιτς ο σουτ! 2-0! Στο 75! Εναντίον της πρώην ομάδας τους.
And that is the goal that brought us to the playoff for the Champions League. Jono, how you feeling this morning / this evening?
Wow, hey Angelo. Yeah, I'm buzzing still. Buzzing. Crazy game. Crazy days since. Like, just amazing. Like, we sat here, 5 days ago, and we were both, we wanted to be optimistic, but we weren't really. And
right.
The way the team played, particularly in the second half, just I think, shocked a lot of people and PAOK fans, even our own fans. I don't think too many believed it, but here we are. Unbelievable. How'd you see it?
I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, I hoped and I prayed for a victory, but as I said in the preview, I didn't think that we would get the win, and I think that all PAOK fans around the world were nervous, just like us, going into the game. We were defending heavily, and we were just expecting them to get some sort of penalty, or we were going to get a red card, or something would happen, just like a lot of other European games in the past where we make a mistake, another team leads, and it leads to another team's goal. But, I'm really excited. As you said, I'm still buzzing. I haven't stopped listening to PAOK chants, PAOK songs, PAOK everything, blasting it in the car to work at 7 a.m. in the morning. So I think...
What type of looks are you getting on the drive there? Are you getting some strange looks? Or?
Yeah, you don't want to know. But it's an awesome feeling. Hopefully we continue this feeling through in 2 weeks. But we'll see what happens. So we're just gonna jump right into it because I think that's what people are listening to this, what they want to hear, and I think that we don't need to waste any time. So give me your outlook on the game. Who you think stood out? There's a couple players in mind that stood out in my eyes, and who do you think kind of we could have used an upgrade for their position, or someone that had a rough game? I think that we're probably going to say the same people / person, but it was a great win for us. So we'll talk about the positives first.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it's no big secret. I think Giannoulis was the man of the match. He was superb. Obviously had a big hand in both goals, direct assist, and I've seen that some sources have still credited him with the first goal. So I'm not sure, but regardless, he had a big hand. So he was huge, and I think drove his price up with that type of performance. It was really brilliant. In terms of the game on the whole, obviously the first half we started well. First 15-20, I thought the game was even. Benfica didn't trouble us too much, and then after that, from about the 20th, 25th minute, they really pinned us back. When we did get out, managed to kind of have the ball and move up the pitch, I think it was a clear directive because it continued in the second half, but we were trying to play a quick pass forward and rather than trying to maintain possession, and we just kept losing the ball straight away, and that just kept inviting wave and wave after pressure.
Right.
And it just kind of felt like, not sitting ducks, but because we defended quite well, and this is something that I want to discuss. The back five, it allows us, they couldn't really penetrate inside the penalty area. They kind of were reduced to shots from range. When they did get in behind, it was more because we had kind of moved up the pitch or had an attack ourselves, so had left a bit of space. So they were able to get the ball and turn. I think this is the thing with two in midfield, with El Kadudi and Svab, who I thought were quite good, especially in the second half. But players are able to receive the ball in between the lines and turn and face our box. Well, that's what happened against Benfica anyway. But then as they kind of drive to the box, there's 5 players plus the 2 central midfielders plus the wingers. It's quite hard to slip any balls in behind. So I was at the start, I was worried when guys like Tarat and Pizzi were picking up the ball and turning and started running at us. I was a bit concerned, but then as the game went on, you saw, look, our defense is holding up well. They're not really able to interchange any passes and slide any balls in. So, I thought, second half we were a lot better because we were able to hit we were more threatening on the counter. were able just to maintain the ball a little bit. I think Svab and El Kaduri were excellent in kind of, being able to ride a challenge. Svab in particular, his shielding of the ball was great, and then he was able to hit that switch pass with that left foot to really set us in space.
Yeah, he's the type of player that we need going forward. I'm sorry to interrupt, but he's the player that is experienced, right? He's not a young up-and-comer that's going to be nervous for these games. He's the player that we should be, or his profile is the type of player that we should be looking for the next, couple rounds. Hopefully we make it through. But I agree with everything you've said so far. I agree with, we came out strong. When we were defending, I think we were defending with the purpose. We weren't just sitting back and we didn't park a bus, right? We didn't put 10 players, all 11 players behind the ball. We were looking to counter like we did in the Besiktas game. I think that we had a couple chances. There was a couple misses that we had early on, but like you said, we were forcing them to shoot, to have the long range shots from outside the box. And I think that was the game plan that Ferreira had going into the game, was we will give them those shots from the outside, but we just have to make sure that they don't break us down. They broke us down a couple times where we made, Zivkovic made some big saves. But I think ultimately we did a good job, and it wasn't just him. I see that he's getting a lot of the praise, as he should, but I think it was the overall shape of the defense. I think that the center backs played really well. I think our midfielders came back and helped out as well. So I think it was an overall great defensive game plan from Ferreira that we actually we did a good job at completing that game plan.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Like, I think tactically, Ferreira has come in for quite a lot of praise over the last 24 hours. I mean, the game was only yesterday, so, and it's kind of nice to see, because a lot of the media and fans were kind of against him. Well, not against him, but have had question marks. Finishing last season, obviously we didn't. There was kind of an expectation that we'd run the title close, and we obviously kind of fell away in the playoffs, disappointingly. So it's good to see him getting some praise, and he's starting to show, I think, bringing in some players that he's chosen. He's obviously changed the system as well as of the playoffs last season. So it's nice to see what he can actually do and see why he was brought in. And he was obviously highly rated by the club because they paid that, can't remember how much it was it 3 or 4 million of the to get him out of his Braga contract. So It's nice to see what he actually can do tactically and as a coach, because there was obviously some other issues last season and we didn't necessarily get to see that. So that's been good to see. It was nice to see.
Yeah, and I was one, to be honest, that was a little hesitant going into the playoffs last year, especially after the first couple rounds where we couldn't seem to score. We played a couple 0-0 draws. So I was hesitant, but one thing that especially I've said to people on the forums and to other fans from around the area, I said that it seems like he really cares about the team. He really cares about the players. He's not a coach that's going to come in that's looking to use PAOK as a stepping stone. I get the sense that he really cares about the players, and even from the Tuba Uncensored, you could tell that he cares about doing well, not only for himself, for the players, for the fans, for the players' families. He has some sort of not father figure, but he treats it as a family, and that's awesome to see a coach do that, where it's not just someone without an emotional reaction or an emotional attachment to the team, to the club. It's not a coach that doesn't really care except for their own progression towards another job. He seems like he could be a coach that can stay for a couple years to help PAOK become a mainstay in Europe in the Champions League. So now time will tell. But going back to the game, who do you think stood out the most? 1, 2 players. Who do you think was the kind of the players of the game or player of the game?
Yeah, look, it's obviously, like I mentioned off the top, Giannoulis, I mean, we all know that. You don't need to be a genius to see that he was the best player. I like I said, El Kaduri and Svab, particularly in the second half when we were able to counter a little bit more. But like you said, someone like Svab El Caduriano, we've had a few seasons, and he's maligned at times. But I think like their quality just showed, and it just showed, like you said, experience. Like these guys know how to get it done at a higher level against a higher opposition,
Right.
against a higher level of opposition. And these guys are golden in games like this. You can't undersell how important it is to make the correct pass. Like it might seem like a simple thing, but to write a challenge, to turn a player and then release a 15, 20 meter pass. I mean, we saw in the first half how costly that was when we weren't able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, it was those guys making those mistakes in the first half. So, we need to say that, but just the timing was off in terms of trying to, like, I know Tsolis kind of was offside a few times
right.
In the first half. So that kind of, we weren't able to execute that pass. But no, I think those two need a special mention, because I was quite impressed with them, and it was good to see, even with two central midfielders, that they were able to stand up and hold up against three. Because in modern football, we know most play with three in the middle.
Right.
So those two were great. The whole defense on the whole, I mean, I wanted to ask you about your boy Crespo. You called it. He played at right wing back, and what you thought of him.
I have nothing against him. I think he's a great player. I think he's obviously towards the end of his career, but I still think that he has a lot to offer as a center back. As a right wing back, defensively he was okay. He got turned a couple times when players would make a move. They would go around them. They would create separation for a cross. But I think he kind of held his own. But I think that was Benfica's game plan going into the game. They knew that was our weak side. He's not a natural wingback, right? We couldn't expect him to go up and down, to be able to create chances offensively. And that's why I think that Ferreira probably told him just sit a little bit more back, have Giannulli go up, so we keep that same back four. But ultimately, I mean, he was serviceable, right? But I think Krasnodar, right, who we're matched up with next week, is going to look at the tape, at the game film, and see that if we still have Crespo on that right side, that's a side that they could take advantage of. How do you think he played?
Yeah, no, I agree with what you said. I thought defensively he was quite solid, and just from when we played Benfica 2 years ago in the playoffs of the Champions League, Grimaldo, their left back, was dangerous. He ran riot for us. He was very attacking. So I think Grimaldo was coming off a long-term injury, so maybe it wasn't 100% as well. But I thought Crespo helped keep him in check. Belkas too, everyone was great. I can't mention the whole team, but Belkas was hardworking as he always is, and was tracking and was supporting Crespo defensively. So, no, what you said, 100%. Defensively, I thought he was solid. Attackingly, we knew he wasn't going to offer us much,
right.
And when he did get forward, he wasn't great, but that's to be expected. I mean, you go in playing with wing backs and a centre back playing at wing back. I mean, you're not going to get, Marcelo in attack, or anyone,
Right.
Trent Alexander-Arnold is probably the equivalent on the right side. So, I thought he was serviceable, like you said.
Right. Now, I have a question that I didn't pose to you in the warming up to this, so it's kind of out of the blue, but I just thought of this. Do you think the lack of fans helped us win this game?
Absolutely, 1,000%. There is no doubt in my mind that if we had fans in that game, look, I don't know if we lose, but the no fans helped. I think 100%. It's just we've watched over the years. We have big games, and the atmosphere is so electric before the game, and it's so hot. And you know what? You're playing teams that are better, so things are going to go wrong. Benfica got on top, like we said in the first half.
Right.
And when that happens, to hear the energy sucked out, which is natural, it's going to happen in every stadium around the world when your team's kind of on the back foot. I think that's blow psychologically to the players. It really takes the wind out of their sails, and it makes it hard to bounce back. Whereas we got to halftime at 0-0, came out, there was again no crowd, and the boys just went and they were great. So I think that the pressure, I think that the energy levels dropping when better teams get on top, which is obviously inevitable when you play teams at that level. I really think that has, at least in, my time of watching PAOK in Europe over the last, kind of 10, 15 years, has had a negative impact. Now, my dad's told me stories about back in the 70s and, the 80s where the crowd has won games. I know we've had historic wins against Barcelona and whatnot, but, in my time, in modern day times, I haven't really seen huge wins at Dumba. Like a lot of our epic qualifications have been away. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think the empty stands help?
I did. I do, and I think I knew going into the game that it would help, because when we have a big European game, everyone's really hyped up. Everyone's on the level 10 out of 10, right? Players and fans. So this forces the players to go out and kind of just run around like chickens with their heads cut off. Just run around, feed off the energy of the crowd. Going into this game too, the couple minutes, right? 10 minutes, we had 2 yellow cards, 3 yellow cards early on, and I think that that was probably the plan of Ferreira. Obviously, not to get yellow, but to stop them in their tracks, to make sure that they can't create, right? Because when you're fouling, you're stopping the flow of the game. So I think that was a game plan that he had. But going back to the fans, I do, because even if when we scored that goal, right, I think there would have been a sense of happiness, right? Euphoria at the beginning, but then some sense of anxiety and nervousness. Every time, we would be defensive. I think that, like you said, with the players feed off the energy of the fans. And I think that if the fans were giving off that nervousness kind of sense, or if they were pushing the players to go up when they shouldn't be going up, I think that there was a lot of difference there.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, I'm with you, Angela, 100%. And I think the balance of, like the fans waiting for the players as they leave the team hotel, kind of, riding by the bus and chanting all the way. I think that's almost because they get that positive, they get that good buzz, they get that positive buzz, the good energy. But then they go in, they warm up, and, their emotional levels, they kind of like steady again. So I think it's the perfect balance. Yeah, I mean, I know it's bad to say, because we obviously love fans and we love the fans being there, and they add something, that most fan bases in Europe don't. But yeah, no, I think in this particular game, absolutely.
Yeah, and those videos of the fans after the game, I think Ingeson posted a couple videos, Crespo posted a couple videos from the bus. That was just awesome. I mean,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw this, but I was watching Ferreira's press conference, and I could hear the fans outside like chanting. So it was pretty awesome to see. Like, it's obviously it just speaks to how big a win it was and how important, and it's really got everyone up and excited.
Yeah. So now let's talk about Giannoulis and the great game he played. And there was rumors of him getting sold, right? So how do you think this performance impacts his saleability? Not only that, but do you think PAOK perhaps try to keep him? I know there's rumors of him trying to re-sign him with a larger exit fee, with a larger salary, obviously, to entice him to want to stay. What do you think that match versus Benfica, what impact do you think that had on Giannoulis in the sale?
Yeah, I definitely think that his price has gone up as a result of that performance. So the rumours was that Atalanta had offered us 6 million euros. PAOK was holding out for 7. I believe he had a buyout clause of 10, which I think PAOK had kind of made our peace with, that we weren't going to get that. But after that performance, I think that's on the cards. Like, maybe not 10 yet, but basically the steps that they're taking to re-sign him. So there was rumours. He had a meeting overnight with Rebe, with our technical director, about re-signing. So bigger salary, longer term deal, just to tie him down, because this year he's going to be super important. He's super important to this system. I mean, we saw in attack what he can offer. He was brilliant, and I think defensively, I mean, I don't know if he gets criticised, but look, I don't think he is the best, left back defensively of all time, but I think he's solid. Like, I don't think that he's a gaping hole on the left side of defence. So I think he's solid, and I think keep re-signing him, because we discussed this last week with Munoz, and we'll mention it with Akbom. When players enter the last year of their contract, you don't have any bargaining power. You're in no position to demand more money. So Giannoulis has 2, so re-signing him and keeping him this season is important. And if we look at Tsimikas' sale from Olympiacos, he performed well in Europe, in the Champions League and the Europa League. So if we can, fingers crossed, make the Champions League, and he can continue the way he is, then his value is just going to increase. Even if it is the Europa League, again, playing in Europe is just going to, and him performing well, it's just going to drive up the price, and it's just going to be better for everyone.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on all points, and I think that 3 or 6 or anything around that number would be too low, especially when you have Tsimikas going for, what did he go for, 13?
I think, I know it was like 11 point something million pounds. So, I think it equates to about 13-ish million euros.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think Giannoulis can get roughly around the same, especially if he has a good European season, right? Whether that's Champions League or the Europa League. He's decent. Obviously, his strength is going forward from the left wing back position. That's something that you can't teach. You can't coach that. You can always build a better defender. I feel like you could always, if he goes to an Italy, if he goes to an England, a Germany, wherever he's going to go, a Spain, wherever, he's going to get, let's be honest, he's probably going to get better coaching, right? So he's going to have someone that's going to work with him defensively to improve. Now, can he play in a top team in one of these divisions? Probably not, right? But he could play at least to start on a lower division, on a mid-table team in one of the big leagues, and then work his way up. I think his offensive ability is already on par with some of those players, but his defensive ability needs work. So let's move forward to Akbom. Right, it's looking like he is going to be sold. I'm not sure if it's official yet at the time of this recording, but it's looking like it's pretty close to good to being sold to Middlesbrough for about 3 million euros. However, Arsenal had 40% of ownership of Akbom, I believe. So we're not going to get much of that 3 million, which kind of lessens the deal. For me, he was a star 2 years ago when we won the league, right? He had all those goals. I'm not sure the exact number. But I think recently he's been more about his work ethic, which is invaluable, which is very valuable. And he offers something that Swiderski doesn't, in terms of he will press high, he will be able to hold the ball. His work ethic was really good against Benfica. I think that he was able to create pressure. He was able to hold the ball a little bit. Do you think that the deal we got for Akbom is a good deal? Would you have held out for more? Do you think that we're going to be able to find a good replacement? What do you think?
Yeah, so in terms of when I first heard the news, I thought, great deal, 3 million. That's for a player entering the final year of his contract again, like we've mentioned. I thought it was a great deal. Until then, I found out that Arsenal had, I think that resale only stood if he returned to England, which he obviously did. So we only get 1.8. We spent $1 million on him. I mean, you make 800,000. If you're looking at it from a business point of view, you've turned a profit.
Right.
But I think all in all, player wanted to go back to England by all reports. He was entering the final year of his contract. Like you said, he was never a great scorer. I mean, he kind of was hot in that 6 months once Brigovic got sold, that second half of the double winning season. But he was never a great scorer. It was all about work ethic, what he offered with his back to goal. And we saw it in the second half against Benfica. The first half, I think he barely had a touch, and that was of no fault of his own. It was just going forward, we weren't great. So then second half, we saw him running, we saw the hustle, we saw him, really troubling Benfica's centre backs. They couldn't, they struggled to keep up with his pace, and he obviously had a big hand in the first goal. Cutting the ball in or crossing the ball in.
Right.
So I think all in all, I think it's a good signing. I think it's fair. In terms of a signing, well, the big one is Čolak from Rijeka in Croatia. He's the one that's been linked. So reports are that we offered 2 million a few weeks ago. We were linked to him a few weeks ago, and Rijeka rejected that. They were holding out more for kind of 5 million. I think this was just after the Besiktas game, so obviously Akbom, there's been rumours all summer, so we kind of went away. We've qualified against Benfica. I'm not sure if the club maybe had some doubts if we were going to do that, hence maybe the Akbom sale, straight away after. Like, they had obviously agreed to that.
Mm-hmm.
So Cholak is the one that we're being linked to. His numbers look impressive. I'm not sure. He's quite big. He's, I think, 186 or 188.
Right.
And he has a good scoring record. So do you think that type of striker is someone that we need? Someone that's got that size and scores a little bit easier than what Akpom did? At least statistically, he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for those that don't know, for those that are in America, 188 is about 6'2". So
nice.
yes, he's a 26-year-old player. So he's not someone that's going to be coming in that we're hoping to build up into a star or that we're looking to sell later on. He actually turns 27 tomorrow, so it'll be interesting if we get him tomorrow officially and on his birthday. I think that'd be pretty interesting. But yeah, so he's had 20 goals in 36 appearances for Rijeka. He's a goal scorer, right? He's a lethal goal scorer who's going to be putting in the goals. He's played in Germany. He's played in Croatia, obviously. So he's been around the block. I think it'd be a decent pickup. For me personally, though, I mean, I was kind of hoping on, I don't know. I think he'd be a solid pickup. But I think that if we're going to compete, now what are we looking at to do? Are we going to look at getting him to win games in the group stage? Or are we looking at him hopefully to get us through the Krasnodar games, right? I don't know if he could be a star striker on the team that's in the group stages if we're trying to get to the group stages and win a couple games. But I think for where we are as a team right now, as an organization, I say he's a good player. I think he's, as an overall player, I would say he's a little better than Akpom. I wouldn't say he's numbers better, but I think he's a little better, and he's going to be hopefully putting in the goals. It's going to be interesting to see his playing style, because I think Akpom's playing style was good for this team and the way that Ferrer wanted to play. But I don't think that we would have taken, or that we would take Cholak if he wasn't in Ferrer's plans, if he didn't give his blessing, you know?
I think you're right. In terms of his playing style, so listening to some radio from Saloniki overnight, they had a Croatian journalist on who kind of gave a quick player profile. So let me just preface this by saying I've never seen Cholak play, so this is all just secondhand from what I heard from the journalist. So he compared him to Mario Mandzukic in terms of similar size, which we obviously know.
Mm-hmm.
He said that he's hardworking, so even when things aren't going his way in terms of scoring, he presses, he runs a lot, which we know modern football, pressing is such an important part of the game. And we saw it early. We tried to do it to Benfica at times, but then once they kind of got on top, we were just kind of sat in our third of the pitch. But
right,
that is something that's really encouraging to hear, that he is a hard worker, that he does press the ball, and he runs a lot, because I think that's invaluable. And it was what you mentioned before about Akpom, about having that, about being hardworking. So I think it's going to be important, and if that is indeed the case, then I think he'll fit in, and the goals will come. Obviously, it's a little bit of an unknown coming from the Croatian league. I mean, his stats are impressive, but the Croatian league, is probably worse than the Greek league.
Yeah.
I mean, the Greek league has kind of gone down over the last 10 years. But no, I think if that's the case and he's hardworking, I think he'll fit in well. It's just a matter of seeing if we actually get him, because 5 million for a team like PAOK, it's a big amount. I don't know if it's going to be 5 million or if it's going to be another type of deal, but we'll see.
Yeah, so hopefully we're going to have him for, if we get him, whoever it is, we're going to need someone for the games with Krasnodar. So we're not going to go in depth into the games. Hopefully we'll get an episode. We probably will get an episode before that game. So I'm just going to give a little rundown about Krasnodar, who they are for those that don't know. What we could look for, who's on their team, real quick for 5 minutes or so. So due to adaptive rebalancing, Krasnodar, they entered the playoff round instead of the third qualifying path. So they were initially scheduled to play in the third qualifying path, but because of everything with COVID and teams not finishing before they had to set the qualifying pots or groups, they moved Krasnodar up to the playoff round. They finished third in a decent in a pretty good Russian league with a plus 19 goal differential. And what was interesting, which I didn't know right away, but after doing a little research, I found out that they finished only 5 points for making the group stage. So they had a very successful year. At the beginning of the year, they were doing much better than they were towards the end. From the first 21 games, they only lost 2 matches, right? But that must mean that they hit a little slide. Their last 9 matches, they lost 4 of them, right? So recently, they haven't been doing as good as they were at the start of the year last year. And it's kind of led to this year where they're currently in 11th place with 6 matches played. They're 2-2-2, 2 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses. So hopefully we're catching them at a time when they're not hitting their stride like we know they could. Last year in Europe, they knocked out Porto but lost to Olympiacos, and they finished third in the Europa League group stage. They have Berg, who a bunch of Greek soccer fans know about. He has 3 goals in 6 games, so he's putting them in quite easily. And just like us, too, this is my last little nugget of information, just like us, they've never made it to the group stages of the Champions League. So between our tie, one of the 2 teams, it's going to be a guaranteed brand newcomer to the Champions League.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting for the competition. I mean, we've kind of seen the Champions League. It just gets taken over by the same. So it'll be nice to see, hopefully PAOK, but it'll be nice to see a new team in there. But yeah, you said that name, man, and I have post-traumatic stress still from Berg. He had a superb scoring record against us when he was at Panathinaikos. And he just used to score for fun against PAOK, and we weren't the level we are now. He kind of left just as we, really became, we had that double winning season and all that. So I'm a little bit, he has aged, he's 34, but the numbers you just discussed, I mean, he's still scoring quite freely, it seems. So yeah, I'm a little bit worried about having to face Berg again. But you know what, our defense has been solid. We've kept better teams out, and kept their scoring down. So I mean, we'll see. But yeah, definitely a bit on alert playing Marcus Berg again.
Right. And just one more last thing, which is pretty cool. I just found out today when I was looking this up. Do you know who the top goal scorer is in the Russian league right now?
I do not.
Noboa. Christian Noboa, who played. Yeah, yep. He has 5 goals in 6 games.
Yes, our big money signing. He lasted 6 months.
In 7 games actually, and they're actually Sochi is actually in 2nd place right now in the Russian league. So they're having a good year, and they haven't lost. They're undefeated, and he's one of the reasons why 5 goals in 7 games. It's a great goal scoring record.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll end it right now, and we want to thank you for listening, Jono. Thank you for coming on this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So we're gonna get another preview in before the Krasnodar game, just like the Benfica game. So hopefully you guys listen to that as well. Jono, any final thoughts?
No, that's all. Superb win. I hope all PAOK fans have enjoyed the win and are really, have watched the highlights 1,000 times like I have. Fingers crossed we get a good result against Atromitos, because we still obviously Europe has kind of consumed us, but we still have the league season to focus on. And so hopefully we get a win and the boys bounce back, because sometimes emotionally it can be hard to kind of come down from such a big win. So hopefully fingers crossed for a win against Atromitos, and then we'll speak to everyone next week with a preview.
Yeah, awesome. So thank you all for listening. Be sure to subscribe to get our numbers up and help share our link to as many people as you can. Set notifications so you see every time we post, and we will be getting the preview out hopefully by this weekend. So stay tuned, and thank you guys for listening.